Today I demo marshmallows because in an artisan bakery and in most pastry shops, there are a lot of egg whites left over that need to be used up. So in order for the marshmallows not to stick together and to dry them out, I do a half and half mixture of 10x in cornstarch. You'll notice a large volume of gelatin. I would argue that most of the marshmallow is made out of gelatin. This recipe goes into two 8-inch square pans, so I'm demoing a metal pan and a silicone pan. I think the silicone pan is easier, but the metal pan gave much cleaner lines and was much prettier. So this is where you can start to visually see that the egg white is a very small quantity. When you work with the gelatin, it's sheet gelatin, you have to pull it all apart. No two can stick together. So there's the tiny amount of egg white. Into the pot always goes the water first, the glucose syrup, and the sucrose. I am going to bring this to 126 degrees Celsius or around 260 Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, on a low to medium, that small quantity of egg whites will be whipping to a soft peak. I'm using a digital thermometer to be accurate, and instead of using the vanilla extract, which has a lot of liquid and it's already very humid, and this is a meringue, I'm going to just use the seeds from a vanilla bean pod. So once everything is on its way, I hydrate the gelatin. And when you hydrate gelatin, you have to make sure that the water is completely covering all of the gelatin. There can't be dry bits in the gelatin because you will not get a smooth result. Once the sugar, water, and glucose are up to temp, I pull it off the heat and then add the gelatin mixture to melt it completely. Now this is where it sort of becomes an Italian meringue because you have to pour that hot syrup between the whip and the bowl side, and you want to keep the whip moving very fast, almost on high, because it's so hot that you have to keep the steam releasing and the product moving. I'm whipping on medium high, and I'm looking for those peaks to not disappear to the count of 5 or 6, and they do. So now I'm ready to put it into the molds. And it should be firm enough that you have to push it around. And before I add the 10x, I am going to let the entire top dry out and get a crust. Then I'm going to sprinkle and brush more of the 50-50 cornstarch so that I can unmold the marshmallow. Before you cut this, I let this sit for an hour so that it can make sure that it's solidifying and it's sturdy enough to be cut. You could definitely leave it longer. And the trick to cutting it is rinsing off your knife every time. I did not do it that time, and it left an ugly beaded area. Every single time I pass the knife through, I run it through hot water and dry it off with a dry towel. Every single time. It doesn't matter what recipe you use to make a marshmallow. You just need to remember the fundamentals. It's mostly gelatin. It is a gelatin-based foam. That is what our whipping agent is. It's not the egg, it's the gelatin. These can be boxed and bagged, but I'd give them a night to dry out a little bit more. They're absolutely beautiful. People get excited, and I encourage you to try.